5-minute penalty to Chicago, a game misconduct, and then Manson having words with Steven. And now Butcher gets into it. We're going to have a brawl, folks. Stand by.
What's up, everyone? Tyler Cash here, coming at you with another episode of Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast. Sorry it's been some time, but we're going to catch up with you guys. We're going to chat some hockey, talking with my boy Tommy. How you doing, bud?
Good. Yeah, both each had some personal shit to deal with here over the last couple of weeks, good and bad, sounds like. But hey, it's part of life, and get back on the wagon here and start pumping out some more content for everybody.
Yeah, went to a hockey game last night. Hockey Fights Cancer at the Fortress here in T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. It was good, 3-2 win. A lot of fun. They put Jessica Cash forever on the Nitron. Went down for warm-ups. Got to see a solid hockey game despite majority of the team being injured. It's kind of fun seeing some of these young kids show up and score some of these dirty goals. But what about you? Have you caught any games recently?
Yeah, I did the SoCal here. Obviously live in SoCal, but did the Blues Kings, Blues Ducks, both losses, both sucked. Came back to St. Louis recently. Saw the Oilers Blues on Sunday with that heartbreaking 28-second goal from Yamamoto to ice it for the Oilers. Saw the Blues shit the bed against the worst team in the league, the Coyotes. Yeah, couldn't go any worse for me as a fan, seeing games in person on a 4-game losing streak, I feel like. But yeah, nothing new. It's part of hockey, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Blues were off to a hot start for a while. Still got a pretty decent record. I mean, still plenty of hockey to be going down this season so far. It wasn't in our notes, but we kind of added it last minute. I feel like we should talk a little bit about this Kyle Clifford trade. Sonny comes off LTIR. Kyle Clifford's been a healthy scratch, so it seems like he was the odd man out here. So how do you feel about that move? He got sent to Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It was either basically one of two things. He's going to basically be, sent to the AHL and make peanuts, which Brett doesn't want to do, or he gets released and maybe a team picks him up. But yeah, as before he joined with the Blues and signed 2 years here, he actually was with the Leafs. Leafs wanted to bring him back, couldn't make it work because the Blues gave him more guaranteed money. I think a little bit more on the AAV side. So he's like, I got to do it. So he did it, and yeah, just kind of a perfect kind of situation, I think, for him, where he's not necessarily going to any team or a rebuilding team or someone who wants a veteran guy who's going back to a team he actually liked to play for or an organization he likes to play for. And Kyle Dubas there, he was excited to get him back. So yeah, Blues get future considerations, whatever the hell that means, back from the Leafs for him for trading that stuff over to them. But yeah, that's where it's at. I mean, I think it makes the most sense for a guy like that too, as a veteran, to go to a spot where he wants to play, and he might even be in a similar situation where he's scratched most nights but has a chance to make an impact with some young guys there and possibly pop into the lineup here and there with that team too.
Yeah, and you know what? Future considerations. It's funny that you said it. I don't know what that means. And I feel like you might. What does that mean necessarily?
So I think it's like, so I know, like, I'm assuming it's the same for NHL, because I know for like baseball, it's like there's like a list of players that you can choose from, and at a designated date, you can pick one of those. I don't know if it includes maybe draft picks or something alternatively in addition here. But yeah, at a certain date, probably sometime in the offseason, the Blues will have a set amount of players that they can choose, like one of them if they so desire, I guess, to bring to them, or they can decline, something along those lines. So I'm interested. Really, those trades never amount to anything ever, but yeah, you got to send something back, I guess.
Right. I feel like 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't wind up being anything. But good for Kyle Clifford. It's rad that he's excited to go to another team, another contender. He's not going to a shitty team. It's not like he's getting shipped off to like the Kraken or the Yotes or anything. Like, he's not going to the bottom of the league. He's going to a contender. He's going for an organization that he likes to play for, that he's got a past with. You love to see it because, some of the business side of hockey can be kind of savage. These players really don't have any certainty on where they're going to play. I mean, Clifford's winding down with his career as kind of that fourth line banger. And it seems like the Blues have a lot of depth, and, they brought Neil in kind of in a similar contract. I feel like Clifford probably had a year, probably just slightly over league minimum, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a $1 million.
So you're replacing like a fourth line banger, basically, essentially, with a guy who potentially could be a 20+ goal scorer. I don't know. I mean, it's a good move. I understand why they have to do it. It makes the Blues cap compliant, and but yeah, I mean, bummer catching those 4 losses though. Surprisingly enough, I mean the Knights they're on a tear. Like they're not doing too bad with considering all their injuries. I mean, Pacioretty. Stone just came back. Patrick's on the brink. You got William Karlsson, obviously Jack Eichel, which we'll talk about later. All these injuries, so they're pulling up AHLers left and right. I think they said something about this was the 6th AHL rookie lap that they've done so far this season in about 14, 15 games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy times, but it's still exciting hockey. They're finding ways to get those dirty goals and getting those wins. So I can't complain. Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about some hockey, shall we? It's been quite some time. We're not going to bore you guys talking about the things that all the other podcasts have talked about recently, but we're just going to kind of jump right into it. 2016 25th overall pick for the Dallas Stars, Riley Tufte. We did Google it. Tufte is how you say his name. He's a young kid. He was drafted in 2016. Goes to play his 3rd NHL game, and it's in his home state, Minnesota. They're playing the Minnesota Wild. So, yeah, he goes to take warm-ups, and boom, healthy scratch right in front of all of his friends and family. There's this big, long story about how he, used his call-up money to pay for tickets for his friends and family. Man, talk about a dick move, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I think we both can go back and look it up, but it's just like, did he have any recollection that he might have been scratched? Did he take morning skate, line rushes, all this stuff? But yeah, I mean, that's a shitty thing to see. Like, hey, I'm coming and playing tonight. Here's tickets to everybody. Excited to see you guys. Cheer me on. Super exciting. Blah blah blah. Go out, stick your warm ups. I'm sure some friends or family are probably down by the glass, like celebrating it or whatever. And then cool, you get off the ice. Hey, you're not playing tonight. And it's like, wait, what? And then I guess in that situation, like, what do? You're not going to see your friends and family again. I'm assuming you text like your mom or your dad or your brother or maybe a couple of your friends like, yo, I'm not playing tonight. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, that's really shitty. It's like I said, like Mike Babcock kind of like 2.0, where Jason Spezza comes back to the Leafs in his first game to play in Toronto, where he's from, scratched. Like, completely fucked him over that way. That's a veteran, not a rookie, mind you. So,
right.
Yeah, really shitty. I mean, like I said, at the very least, I think it was, I forget which player on the team. I think it was Nick Bugstad or someone along those lines. Like, yeah, put in some of their own money, like helping, with tickets and stuff, like kind of pass around a hat to help out with that stuff. So I'm feeling at the very least, coaching staff needs to chip in and be like, we fucked up. Here's, the money for the tickets at the very least, and figure out a way to make it up to him. But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, Dallas isn't going to be playing Minnesota. It's not the only time, like, for the year they're going to be playing there. Like, there's going to be a chance to redeem himself, assuming he's performing and, not injured or whatever. I'm sure they'll have him in the lineup whenever that time comes. But still, yeah, really fucked to have that play out the way it did.
What did he do? Did he bone Rick Bonus's lady or what? I mean, like, it's just weird, right? You take warm-ups. It's in your home state. I mean, the coach had to have known. He wasn't completely clueless, and to pull that, and he hasn't played since, which is disheartening too, because he doesn't really want to own up to the mistake, right? Rick Bonus doesn't, so he hasn't played. Everyone's calling him a dick. They got their asses kicked too. It was like a 7-2 blowout, which, I mean, yeah, that's neither here nor there, because the kid would have been stoked to play in front of his friends and family regardless. So yeah, I mean, hopefully he gets another shot. I mean, he played 2 games, no points. Didn't really have any sort of impact on any of the games he was a part of. It took him 5 years to make it to the show. So, yeah, I mean, you grind that hard, man. I hope good things come to him. And, yeah, I mean, hopefully he gets another opportunity, like you said. But, yeah, I mean, dick move for sure. I mean, we don't know the why, like you said, the reasoning behind it. But from the outside looking in, definitely looks like a dick move. Yeah, so let's talk about something awesome. And for those of you out there who aren't familiar, there's a thing called Movember, where it's the guys in the NHL. Is it just a hockey thing, or is it other sports as well?
Well, hockey makes the biggest deal about it because it's like, it's probably the most played sport outside of NBA. I know NBA does it, but I think it's definitely for sure more of a hockey thing now than anything, no doubt about it.
Yeah, so basically, guys around the league are growing their mustaches out to raise awareness for men's mental health. And Austin Matthews had a goal of $134,000 to raise towards mental health awareness for men. He hit that goal, so he's going to shave off the stash, I guess, as a celebration. I'm assuming at the end of the month. It's funny because a press release got sent out about a player's facial hair, but it's for a good cause. It's awesome. I guess we're going to see babyface Austin Matthews for the first time in quite some time.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see. I mean, it's definitely for a good cause. Gotta love it. But yeah, I think he's raised his number like every year and he's hit it. So good for him. And I'm sure if he really wanted to, he'd go up to some massive number like 300, 400, 500K, quite honestly, and still probably hit it because, it's not even barely mid-November and he hit that number. So good for him. It's think definitely something that is great for the league, great for the sport, great for the cause, no doubt about it.
Listen up, goons. Gotta interrupt the podcast to talk about another one of our amazing sponsors, Shortside Co., a hockey apparel and accessory company. Established in 2020, Shortside is a Minnesota-based company with all 4 owners having a combined 25 years of professional hockey experience. All of their tape is made in the USA, tested and certified by NHL players, including Nate Schmidt. We had him on the podcast, so if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and check it out. He's a beauty. All of their products are created by players, for players. Going shortside is a lifestyle. But why go shortside? Well, scoring goals is their passion. There are many variables that come into play in order to score a goal high on the short side, but it all starts with a perfectly executed tape job. After scoring goals in every league from mites to the NHL, they are confident that their product will be a staple in any locker room. For individuals and organizations looking to join the Shortside community, go to www.goshortside.com.
And the opposite of great, the New Jersey Devils alternative jersey leaked. Rough, to say the least. But here's my thing. If you haven't seen it, it's all over Twitter. We posted it on our Facebook. I can probably edit it like right here. I think I can do that, right? I can get fancy with it. Yeah, it's pretty horrendous. But like my thing is what's going to be the theme of the alternative jerseys this year? Like I'm assuming every team in the league, or there's going to be a lot that are going to do it. I mean, the only way that concept could be cool is if all the teams were doing it. Like if it just said like in that kind of font or something where, the city, but all around pretty hideous, don't you think?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's really just a jersey on the front. It's like, okay, you're wearing a jersey, or are you just a Jersey fan? Are you from New Jersey? Like there's so many things. If you're not a hockey fan, like why are you wearing this? Like no one knows what it is. Yeah, I don't know. There's no like logos on the shoulders. Like
there's only like a hint of red. I think it's just like the outline is red,
right? Yeah,
which is
mostly white. It's like a red detail in the letter. Like, yeah, I'm just like, I mean, even if it was like a justification of like, oh, we're playing an outdoor game this year or something, like, still probably one of the fucking worst jerseys I've seen in a long time. Like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. You've seen the Dallas Stars like alternate like bright neon green, right? Like I absolutely hate it. And this is worse than that. It's just like I think from my perspective with their jersey is I hate the way it looks on TV. I think that's my problem with it versus like in person it looks a lot better. Some of the photos I've seen of like Jake Ottinger's like pad setup where it's just like neon green pads with the jersey and everything looks pretty sick.
Looks like Tron.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's cool, but like at least it's an attempt, right? It's something new. So it's like, oh, that's hideous, but they're fashion forward, right? As they would say, like they're trying. Here it's just lazy. Like that, when I see illustrations and graphic design like that, I get so pissed off because that they paid somebody an arm and a fucking leg and a shitload of time to just literally take a cursive font and put jersey on it and put stripes. there's somebody I saw on Twitter, which I think I can probably put right there again. Maybe I'm gonna try. That did a mock-up, probably in like 5 minutes, that made it better. And they put like the horns on the side. They put the devil tail in there, just a little bit of flair. Well, this is somebody that probably did it on their fucking phone or like iPad. Like it's just they didn't put any effort into it. They're not sitting in some corporate office doing graphic design with a major under their fucking, a degree under their belts and shit.
Yep.
It's just it's atrocious. I don't think I've seen one positive thing on the internet about it.
I just think that you take arguably, I think, a top 5 logo, like just a logo alone in the New Jersey, the NJ that you have, and just remove it completely and don't put it anywhere on the jersey. Like, who thought that was okay? Like, again, fucking brutal attempt at whatever you're trying here. Just absolutely terrible.
I personally hate when there's any sort of font that's centralized on a jersey, on a hockey jersey. Like I dig the
Rangers.
Yeah, like
or
Rangers or Penguins, or whatever. Like I think that's tight, but it always drives me nuts when there's any sort of other font. Like I hated the Jets alternative jerseys where it just said Jets.
Yeah.
I hate Vancouver's drives me fucking nuts because they have the logo, then they also have Vancouver over it, and it's just like it would be tight if the logo is just the only thing on the jersey. We get you're fucking from Vancouver. We understand that. Like. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of laziness with it, but if you're at least going out on a limb, I think it's cool. Like you know how I feel about the gold jerseys. I love the gold domes and the chrome domes. Dude, you got it. Okay, so I don't think I think this might even be a question later. You know what? We'll wait because I think it's a question. But I thought LA did a great job with the chrome domes too, and like the white helmets. I think it's exciting, but at least they're trying something new. I guess that's my thing.
It's a question. I'll reserve judgment for that later on.
Fair. All right. So, we were let's talk about it. St. Louis Blues legend Troy Brouwer announces his retirement from hockey after 14 seasons, 5 different teams. He bounced them back and forth with the Blues. He had 2 short stints with the Blues, which qualifies him for a legendary status for sure. Of course, he had the cup with the Blackhawks in 2010. I say, of course, but I actually forgot that. I completely forgot he was ever a hockey. He had to have been like a scratch that year. Like he didn't do much.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he played. Which year would it have been?
2010. So that was like the first year that they won?
If it was 09-10, he played 19 games in the playoffs. If it was, shit. So, I mean, he played most of the fucking time.
And then he went on and got that contract, I think, from
Capitals.
Is Capitals?
Yeah, Capitals.
Okay. He played for Calgary too, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Calgary and the Panthers for a minute and the Blues a couple times.
Yeah. So, I mean, hell of a career. I mean, obviously he never really amounted to be that player that everybody kind of wanted him to be. I feel like, he seemed to always be primarily a goal scorer. Honestly, he reminds me a lot of James Neal, just like kind of not the best defensively, but he can put the puck in the net, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair to a certain degree. Absolutely.
So happy retirement, Troy Brouwer. Hope you're enjoying a nice Bud Light and Emo's Pizza in your St. Louis Blues jersey somewhere.
I think he's he's a scout now for the Blues actually. So
is he? Okay.
I think so. So yeah, definitely will probably doing one of those things, if not both, for sure.
Fair. All right, so Seattle, the Kraken. Let's talk about it. They are actually an expansion team, and they've shown it. They are second to last in the league, only above the Coyotes. I think Vancouver might be hovering over them as well they're all like kind of down there at the end of the standings. 4-12-1, brutal start. They looked pretty good on paper. I mean, they didn't get a lot of picks from the draft. They kind of went for more name players. I feel like they got, Schwartz, Grubauer, Tanev. Who else am I missing? Who's like they got Gord. They got talent. I guess they're just not clicking, right? I mean, do you see them recovering from this?
No, I said from the get-go, they took an entirely different approach than two things. Like an entirely different approach than the Knights did with their setup. And then secondly, with GMs already going through what they saw happen with the Knights, you clearly saw how few of them were like willing to make any deals. I don't think anyone made a deal with them. So yeah, I mean, at that point, you are understanding you're going into it with the mindset of we have a slight core in place here. We probably have maybe one guy in Schwartz who could potentially touch a top line guy. And outside of that, you might have like top 9 players, I feel like, across the board for your forwards, maybe a couple top 4 D-man and bottom 6 guys, but filling out your entire D-core. And then, on paper, goaltending looks okay, but you don't have any forwards to score really and keep up with your bad defensive woes, or you don't have defenders to help block shots, and goalies can only do so much and with that talent. So I think it makes total sense. I don't foresee any issues with them, doing what they're doing here, but I don't see them getting any better. I mean, I feel like maybe, they could bump up a spot in the Pacific, but I definitely probably see them stay in the bottom here for the next couple of years while they round out their team.
Well, and the Pacific has actually surprisingly been good this year, which is just
really competitive. Yeah.
The Knights are doing decent. The Kings were on a tear there for a minute, and then the Ducks, which is just absolutely crazy. I mean, Gibson has been a stud. I've been preaching that for years, but they seem to have found, some young talent. What's that guy's name? I butcher his. Is it Terry? Is that Troy Terry? Am I saying his name right?
Troy Terry, yeah.
Yeah, so what was that, 19 points in like 13 games?
A massive 16, 17 game point streak.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, if you're getting, young talent to score and produce, I mean, and then you got Edmonton, right, who's being Edmonton. They've always been that way, but somehow they're stealing games. Their goaltending is still a question mark, still a huge problem. But, I mean, if they actually are going to take a chance at swooping somebody like Fleury, which is the rumor that they were interested in getting Fleury later down the line before trade deadline. They could be really scary having like legit goaltending in net. I mean, I know Fleury's not having a great year, but neither are the Blackhawks by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, I mean, I guess to kind of translate into that, do you think Edmonton's the real deal? I mean, could you see them continuing to do what they're doing, or is Tortorella right? Do they need to change their game? Or are they going to get smoked in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, look at every year. I don't think Tortorella's wrong by any shred of imagination. Nobody wants to hear that, and nobody wants to see, the easily arguably the best player in the league getting hooked and hit differently and not getting penalties called against him because he's Connor McDavid and he hasn't needed, or whatever the sentiment is. But I think it's two things. Koskinen, is that sustainable, what he's kind of doing, which obviously isn't great. He's got almost a 3 goals against, 91 save percentage, number one. And then number two, you're dealing with your defense, Duncan Keith and Tyson Barrie and Cody Ceci and Chris Russell. It's your top 4. I mean, I'm not excited about any of that, but I mean, I think, again, goes to that saying, like, when it comes to playoffs, like, I mean, McDavid is put up a point per game, which is good and all, but the team in general, they just get played really hard, and there's no space for McDavid to create anything, and there's no space for Draisaitl to create anything. And you've seen it honed in. I can remember so many times watching like feeds on TSN of just guys getting an extra little cross checks in on McDavid or extra little hits in on Draisaitl and stuff like that. And then they just get really discouraged and frustrated, and then they don't adjust, and the same shit happens. So personally, no, I don't, unless they have a big trade on defense as well as goaltending. But I don't see how they're going to make that happen, quite honestly. I really don't. But that's my take. So
I'm excited to see a fired up Connor McDavid, because I feel like my biggest gripe with him is that he's boring. Like, he's amazing, like one of, if not the best hockey player of all time, but he just never shows any emotion. It's like super just casual about it. And that look on his face after he deked the 4 Rangers, like when he actually scored the goal, I was like, holy shit, he is human. Like, he is enjoying himself. Like, and then obviously the comments from Tortorella, and then they asked him about him not getting any calls. He goes, well, I guess I should just shut up then. And I don't know. I think that the fire, if it's lit, and, him and Draisaitl are connecting, I mean, that's going to be at least enough to win them a playoff series. I don't know about the whole thing. As you said, they're going to have to make some acquisitions come trade deadline. And man, it would be crazy if Fleury actually wound up going there, because the way that everything's kind of playing out, it could be Knights and Oilers round one,
That'd be wild.
That would be absolutely insane.
Hey, what's up, everyone? We're interrupting the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast to talk about one of our awesome sponsors. Big Balls Kickball is St. Louis's premier adult kickball league, bringing you the best game in town since 2007. Veteran owned and operated, they strive to bring out the kid in everyone, and they let you let loose and make new friends on that field. Big Balls welcomes players from all walks of life, and they pride themselves on being one of the most inclusive leagues out there. If that's not enough, they also offer Big Balls apparel. That's right, they sell clothing, all that stuff, and it's rad. Me and Tommy have some. We've been rocking them. They go back with the retro designs, back to the 90s, back to your childhood, all of that. So be sure to go and check out Big Balls Kickball at www.stlbigballs.com.
So yeah, let's talk about some of the main topics I feel like that have been going around lately. Obviously, it wouldn't be right if we didn't talk about it. Jack Eichel traded from the Buffalo Sabres with a 2024 third rounder in exchange for forward Alex Tuck from upstate New York, Peyton Krebs, which was 17th overall in 2019, and a top 10 protected first rounder in 2022, and a 2023 second rounder. That's a mouthful, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Big trade, something we've been waiting for a very long time. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two things. Like, obviously, it was sad to see how everything really played out here in terms of how long it took for Eichel to, get out, and how long he was denied surgery and constantly being in pain, all this stuff. Like, there's a human factor, and then there's also the business factor where I think the Sabres, all things, put together, didn't get that great of a return for him. But the flip side is he going to be the same Jack Eichel, or even 90 or 85% of the Jack Eichel he once was before he, had his neck issue? We'll see. But yeah, I mean, if there's one thing, if there's a positive to take out of it, you actually have someone who's super stoked to go to Buffalo, and Alex Tuck, being from upstate New York, being from the Buffalo area. So if that's one thing that franchise desperately needs, that's a bonus for sure. But I think it's a fair trade as of now, pending obviously on how Eichel ends up performing here down the line. But I don't think by any means it's a Ryan O'Reilly type of a steal, but it's definitely, I think it leans, for what the Knights are trying to accomplish here in the short term, leans Knights. I mean, I don't know how you say it doesn't, especially if he can get healthy and somehow the Knights can manage their cap issues between now and playoffs and make playoffs. Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what the hell happens this year with them.
Yeah, the only downside to everything is it puts the Golden Knights basically at $10 million over the cap, which is basically Jack Eichel's contract. Now, the injury bug has plagued the team. It's almost like funny at this point. I mean, it's not funny because guys are getting hurt, but William Karlsson, broken foot. Max Pacioretty, broken foot. Something with Mark Stone's back. You could assume maybe some sort of disc slip or something, some muscle pull or tear. Obviously, Jack Eichel with his neck surgery. Nick Hague breaks his hand. Alec Martinez 50 stitches to the face after a skate comes up.
Nasty.
Yeah, I mean, dude, 50 stitches. I can't even imagine that. It's just absolutely insane, and you wonder if it's going to keep going. Who knows? I think with the way their luck is playing out, when they need people to get injured, they probably won't get it, and they're going to have to move out somebody, which everybody is saying, Riley Smith is the obvious choice. He's about $6 million against the cap. You can remove him. You can send a couple of guys down. You can send a few guys through waivers to manipulate that other $4 million.
Right.
But to me, that would be a horrible, horrible, horrible move, because you're bringing Jack Eichel in, which it's going to take a minute for him to get adjusted to the system, get accustomed to the players, and actually fit in. More than likely, he's going to come back rusty, and it's people are going to be like, "Oh, it was a bust." Like, you know, sucks to suck. You know, he's injured. He's not scoring these goals, or this team isn't doing as well as they were when there was a bunch of grinders out there. But the big problem is you're removing one of your wingers and one of your guys that needs to put the puck in the net. And Riley Smith is having himself a year. He's really taken advantage of the fact that he's one of the only veteran presence out there, and he's doing great. I would really personally hate to see him leave. My suggestion to the whole scenario would be possibly moving a defenseman. My mind goes to Shea Theodore, and as much of a bummer as that is that he's an original misfit, he's only making $6 million a year, which in a market where all these defensemen are making 9.5, $10 million a year, that's a steal as well. But he really hasn't been his same self ever since the bubble. And I think that a lot of that might have to do with the fact that Pietrangelo, right? He comes in, he plays a similar game. He's obviously a Stanley Cup winning champion. He's a captain. He's been there, and he knows what to do in the right place for the most part. And I don't know if there's an intimidation factor or just the fact that you can't have two elite puck moving defensemen on the same team and have it work, because we saw before it didn't work with Erik Karlsson and Brent Burns under DeBoer. It still really isn't. You got one hot, one cold constantly. So yeah, that's my take on it. It sucks that they're going to have to make some more moves. I personally think that if they can't play the injury card and pull a Tampa Bay and be $9 million over the cap come postseason, then I don't know that they got stronger this year.
Even though you're $13 million over the cap right now, but no, I get what you're saying.
Oh, it's 13. Is it 13 million?
You guys are like 12.9 and change right now. It's nuts.
Shit.
But yeah, so the only tricky part with that is if you trade out Theodore for whatever, you then have your I don't know how I trust the Knights winning, in all honesty, at all, because you're going to have Pietrangelo and Braden McNabb as your top two guys, and then 4 rookies, or a guy who's been a 6th, 7th, 8th D-man, and Ben Hutton on every team. I guess Zach Whitecloud, obviously he's definitely exceeded expectations with his, but you're going to have half of your defense like rookies or fringe guys, and come playoff time, I don't think that's gonna work. So unless it's a trade of Shea Theodore for a pick and a veteran guy who's making like 1.52 mil or something like that, and even then I don't know how it helps the team really, because I have always said it, I think defense and shutdown goaltending wins championships, and without that I don't know how it's going to work, quite honestly.
Well, I think, obviously you have Martinez, who's a veteran presence as well. So I guess your 3 guys would be McNabb, Martinez, and Pietrangelo. That's not bad compared to like what a lot of teams are dealing with. But I'm personally really surprised in how Nick Hague has played. Dude's a stud, and I was really worried that he was going to be a part of the Jack Eichel trade. I mean, he's got 9 points in 18 games. That's not bad for a defenseman that's 22 years old. Probably, I don't know what his contract is, but I'm assuming it's his entry level. So he's making like league minimum.
Yep.
Ben Hutton clearly wants to stay. It's funny because he's gotten in 2 fights in like 6 games that he's played for the Knights. So he's trying to make an impact. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that it makes him stronger this year. I think it kind of forces I know rebuild seems like the worst word because it's not a rebuild, but
Retool.
A retool, yeah. You have to like kind of rework your team and your cap. That's why we have a salary cap to begin with, is to kind of keep these things in check. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I personally think that Jack Eichel is going to be the first time he puts on a Vegas Golden Knights jersey. It makes too much sense for it to not be the All-Star weekend. I mean, that's money right there. I mean, okay, so if the Olympics happen, because now we're talking about a potential boycott, there's going to be a lot of NHL elite caliber players there and not available for the NHL All-Star game. So why not pick a dude that just joined your team that's fresh off of LTIR, it seems like a publicity move, like, made in heaven.
I don't think he'll be an all-star, even as with it being hosted in Vegas, with everyone else that's going to be deserving. But if you don't make him a big part of the weekend, you're missing out on a lot of stuff, both from the Knights and the league and ESPN, etc., AT&T, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, big name guy coming to a big name city. I mean, you got to involve him somehow, some way, and I'm sure the league will find a way to make that happen.
Plus, February 1st, they're playing the Buffalo Sabres that same week. That's the last game before All-Star break. Just throwing it out there, the timeline works. Personally, I would like him to wait it out until playoffs. I know that sounds like a psychotic move because he needs time to adjust, but have him skate with the team, have a lot of scrimmages. I mean, there's nothing against that in the rule book. Pull a Kucherov and just kind of, and a Stamkos and just do that and have him sit it out and see if you can have an honest run. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be best case scenario, I think, for a lot of Golden Knights fans. So yeah, let's talk about something that you brought up that you feel has been neglected and isn't talked about as much as it should. I lost. Yeah,
sorry, I just muted myself. My bad. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think I understand this by all means. I mean, I know you factor in the four, major sports: MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, all those four. NHL from a ratings and viewership standpoint has always been at the bottom, but you have Alex Ovechkin, who easily in 3-4 years, 5 years, if he's still playing, if he's producing, not hurt, whatever, could be the all-time goal scorer of the NHL to ever exist, to ever play the game. To pass Wayne Gretzky, who I still think if Ovechkin passes him, I think Wayne Gretzky is the greatest to ever lace him up. But from a pure scoring standpoint, it has to be Ovechkin from that, no doubt about it. But I mean, he just passed Blues legend Brett Hull for fourth all time. He's got Jaromir Jagr, Gordie Howe, and then Wayne Gretzky himself to catch. I think 894 is the number he needs to beat. He's 36. He's got 744, might be 745 now. I think it's still 744, but he signed until 2026. He'll be 40. He needs like 30 or 40 a year to do it. But my point is, I can think back to LeBron James passing people on all-time scoring list, Barry Bonds in the heyday of baseball, where he's passing, fourth and third and second all-time on the home runs list. And, Tom Brady passing people's records pretty much every week still to this day in football, where those highlights are played, 50 times a day on all sports networks. And the only thing you get, even with ESPN having a new contract for hockey, is, oh, here's the Capitals highlights. Oh, hey, by the way, here's fourth all time. There's no celebration. There's no countdown. There's no hype behind it from the league, really. There's no hype behind it from the networks, really. It's just kind of like, yeah, this guy's playing. He's a top 5 goal scorer of all time. Probably not going to see someone come to this echelon. And for quite some time, even with Connor McDavid, he's a good 10 plus, 15 plus years off from this, threshold in terms of production. Let's just not make it a story. I just don't get it. And it's a huge problem with how the way hockey is marketed. And I think it's something that really needs to change and change quickly, but I don't think anyone's going to do it, which is really shitty. So
I think it's strange too, because every time Fleury passed somebody for wins, we heard about that. And, obviously I'm a big Flower fan. Ovechkin, not quite so much. I'm still a little sour from his Stanley Cup victory, but I mean, he's arguably the best goal scorer of all time. And as you said, that's something to be celebrated. And will I think he'll do it? Yes. Now, I said no. I think we talked about it last year. I was like, no way in hell. He plays too aggressively. But now he just kind of has his chair set up there at the top of his recliner at the top of the circle, and he just puts the puck in every single time based off that. I feel like with his competitive will, he's gonna force himself to play until he could be 58 years old and he'd be out there still parked up at the top of the circle. So yeah, I could see him definitely beating that record. Congratulations on beating the the Golden Brett there at number 4, 744 goals. I mean, that's no easy achievement. And I mean, he also did this in a shortened season. There might have even been a lockout. Was he a
Yeah.
part of?
Yeah.
So 2 shortened seasons. I mean, it's a crazy thing, and yeah, it should be celebrated. But I guess I am changing my opinion now. I do think he does it, but also with that being said, we also have Connor McDavid in the league. We do have Austin Matthews in the league, and you said that these guys are young, 10, 15 years away. We might see this record broken multiple times between now and the end of these guys' careers. So yeah, my final answer is I think he does it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how he doesn't, but barring some crazy injury or something along those lines. But yeah, again, why the hell it's not celebrated or discussed or people really honing in on it just blows my mind.
All right, so before we get to questions, we talked about this briefly, but not really. I just kind of mentioned if you thought Edmonton was the real deal. Let's talk about our early picks for the Cup. After watching about 16 to 18 games, I think somewhere in that ballpark for majority of the league, who is a team that has really spoke to you that you wouldn't be surprised if they host the Cup this year?
Said at the beginning before our season started, still sticking with it. Panthers. They are, I think, top in the league still? Yeah, top in the league, undefeated at home. I just think they got absolutely shit draw with having to face Tampa Bay in the whole bubble. And then again, like I said, I think the whole situation where you play each team so many extra times, it just makes things a little bit more tighter. And Tampa Bay has that experience where the Panthers really don't. So I'm still going Panthers, 100%.
Yeah, we're both in agreement on this. Remember, the Panthers were my pick last year, and they just kind of got hosed that first round against Tampa. Obviously, Tampa went on to win the Cup. As you mentioned, they're undefeated at home, but it sucks because they're only playing in front of like 70% capacity because they still don't have a fan base, which is just absolutely insane. You're seeing Anthony Duclair killing it. Bobrovsky's finally being that goaltender, that $10.5 million goaltender. They got a stud in Spencer Knight, although he's been kind of here and there. He's been having a few shit shows. Obviously Barkov, stud. I mean, they're a great team, and honestly, not a team that you even hate to see win. Like they kind of have like that Hurricanes vibe where you're like, oh, okay. Although the Hurricanes have Tony D now, so like now we have a reason to kind of shit on them.
True.
So they're the new Hurricanes. I'm okay with that. I think I've always liked their 90s logo. Like the jersey was always sick growing up. And yeah, they're my pick as well. But I will tell you this, I do feel like Edmonton's the real deal. If I had to pick a Canadian team, they're clearly it. I'm a huge Leafs fan as well. I love Marner and Matthews, and I really do think that their goaltending situation has improved from Freddie Anderson. It was the right move to move on. Yeah, but I think the real deal is Edmonton. I just don't think Toronto's quite there. I did watch that. Have you seen that documentary? It's like a little mini series they had on Amazon about the Leafs.
No, I haven't.
It's actually worth watching, even if you're not a fan. And I avoided it like the plague because you know the outcome. And the name of the series is called All or Nothing.
Okay.
I guess they're going to pick like a team every postseason and follow them. Actually, they did the regular season too, but very exciting stuff, especially because it covers what it was like to be in the bubble, like how they were handling things. So if you haven't checked that out, it's on Amazon Prime. It's called All or Nothing. So yeah, we're in agreement on that. I do think Tampa kind of took a step back, having to be cap compliant and play by the rules all year round. So far, I think that yeah, if they were to go against each other again, I would put my money on the Panthers.
One team to note, and I still think people are going to overlook it, and they probably have to this point still, in my opinion, are the Islanders. They're 8th in the Metro. Remind you, they played the first 13 on the road to make sure the new arena was set up. So they went, I think it was 5-7-2, 5-6-2 on the road, something like that, which isn't terrible by any means. And then now you already have over pretty much a third of your road schedule knocked out. And you have a very, very favorable schedule for playing from a home perspective moving forward in a new barn that you know is going to be sold out and rocking night in, night out. Keep an eye out for them to sneak in. I think they're for sure making playoffs and can make a run. I think they're going to be counted out early just because of that whole situation personally.
Yeah, I mean, they just lost their first game in their new barn, which is kind of sad, but they also had like 8 dudes in COVID protocol.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is just crazy. I'm actually glad. So we're in a fantasy hockey league that we do for the Fourth Line Goon, and we have some buddies in it. And Tommy's not doing so hot this year, by the way. But
Too much shit going on.
But the IR plus situation, I accidentally kept it, because we were going to change it. We all agreed. We're like, let's get rid of these. We don't need them. And I'm glad we kept it because there's so many players that are out with COVID or in COVID protocol, just even being associated with somebody that has it. So yeah, it's still very scary times. And I guess we also didn't have this in our notes as well, but I mean, do you feel like the league is kind of like in danger of not finishing again or getting shit pushed back?
No, I don't think so.
They're just going to keep pushing on.
If baseball got through it, I don't see how the hockey can't get through it. And if NFL is getting through it right now, I don't see how that's not going to happen. Maybe there's a delay here or there. Again, the only thing I think that could be threatened here is potentially the Olympics because of COVID and having to push scheduling back and all that shit potentially. But I think the only team that's really concerning at this point is the Senators, I believe, to my understanding, they got hit the worst so far.
Yeah,
so
they had to like postpone 3 games.
Assuming it's just a team like that, or again, not to say it's not important or not as important or whatever, but if a team like the Senators, the Coyotes, or something like that, or the team's getting postponed at the end of the day and those games get made up, you got to keep moving on. If it's say a Panthers or a Blues or a Knights or a team that's potential contender or whatever, like maybe reconsider. But I say it could be devastating to not having Olympic hockey again with NHLers potentially, but fingers crossed we don't get to that point. I mean, we only have 2 months to worry about, roughly, give or take, till we get there. So hopefully not is what I'm going for.
All right, I got to interrupt the podcast to talk about another one of our amazing sponsors. That's right, Black Heart Inc. is not only a tattoo brand, but a culture in itself. Established since 2021, right here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Black Heart provides the highest in quality and luxury in custom body art. Black Heart Inc. is a tattoo shop like no other around the Las Vegas area. And ever since I moved here, I've been searching around. So trust me, there's some quality work going out of this shop, providing acceptance of all walks of life through the art, the communication of the image that displays or conveys a statement. It can be very powerful. Through art and tattoos, Black Heart Inc. will continue to defy the status quo, not just now, but for years to come. Make sure you check them out at www.blackheartinc702.com. If you mention the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast, you can get $60 Halloween flash tattoos. That's right, $60 gets you a creepy new tattoo this October. They can do same-day appointments, local and group discounts. They make sure they honor the military. And if you go in and you mention the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast and that you're a VGK fan, they will do a $100 flash tattoo of a Vegas Golden Knights logo. That's right, a $100 flash tattoo of a Vegas Golden Knights logo. I got one myself on my arm. So make sure you guys check it out, www.blackheartinc702.com.
So yeah, let's get to the questions. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Sorry for the delay. We do have 2 more interviews that we're going to be dropping within the coming weeks. They're both awesome, both entirely different guests, both entirely different episodes, but they're rad. So check those out. Also, go back and check out the 2 interviews we did. We did one with Nate Schmidt. And we also did one. Who was the other one? Oh, Cam Jansen. Obviously, how can we forget?
Come on,
great St. Louis Blues legend, Cam Jansen. So go back. Those are on our YouTube. Those are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. So Chris Kowalski wants to know: do you think the Avalanche are back to being contenders after a scary slow start?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you necessarily count them out by any means. I think the question mark there is goaltending seemingly as it's always been, even when they had Grubauer. But assuming they can get past those woes, in short, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, small sample size. I hate the Avs, but they're always going to be a contender as long as McKinnon is producing, and you got Rantanen and
McKinnon, Landeskog, Makar. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and I think they made an improvement with their goaltending change. I don't think Grubauer was all that. I think it was an improvement. It's just going to take some time to kind of click and gel as a team. With that being said, I don't think they're as strong as they used to be. I think getting rid of Saad, Donskoy, there's somebody else that Belmar. I think all their depth guys, like where they were kind of looking good and mean on that like bottom six, maybe some guys that could step up from that third line to that second line are missing pieces, and I think that's going to hurt them. So I think they do need to make some moves. I really do. I don't think they're the same Avs team that they were a couple of years ago. I think that was shown last year against the Knights round 2. I think that should have been a wake-up call for them to make some changes personally. So VGK Dean on Twitter wants to know that if we would like to see the LA Kings and the Golden Knights play each other wearing their chrome domes. Well, how do you feel about that, Tommy?
So, like, I understand trying something new, but it's not for the league. I feel like it's overkill in my opinion, and I just don't get it personally. I mean, again, I don't think I'm out of touch with the world by any means, but it's just kind of a headache to look at, really distracting. And again, I think the Kings' new jerseys and setup and everything is absolutely great. I think the gloves need to change, but if you change the gloves and you go to normal helmets, I mean, they can just be silver normal helmets. Like, I think it's perfect. But I think outside of that, it's like, especially if you've watched a game with those helmets like from above, it's just like you're kind of like honed in on shininess, and it just kind of takes away from the atmosphere. I don't know. That's my take.
I love them, but I love them. I love obnoxious. I love new. Like I used to be one of those people that are like, keep the game the way it is, but I'm all for change. I think it's great. I think it would be cool. I think that the entire setup of the LA Kings, like going back to that 90s throwback, like the Gretzky Kreski. I think it was great. I think it's awesome because I think their jerseys now are atrocious and they make no sense. They look like samurais. That's what I've said from the beginning. There's nothing medieval about it at all. Not that like the Chevrolet logo was very medieval, but I don't know. It was cleaner. I like it. I think it's cool. So big fan of that whole get up all around.
Also side note on the Kings. I don't know. I'm assuming you probably heard about it too. Staples Center will be gone come Christmas.
Yes.
Crypto.com arena will exist. And in all honesty, I think about it, I was like, how did a big box office store supply company that really is never that great of a company, never that profitable, how the fuck did they own those naming rights to arguably the biggest entertainment venue in the world? It blew my mind personally. But now I step back and think about it, the name's changing. I'm like, how did this go on for, I think it was 99. It was like 22 years basically.
Wow.
So I'm like, I don't know how, but I mean, it's everyone's like, oh, we're still going to call it Staples Center. And I'm like, you just want to refer to your arena as some fucking office supply store? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I personally would have rather them went with Dogecoin Arena.
Jesus,
like, I think
can you imagine?
It's crazy because it reminds me of basketball. Like in basketball, where they talk about how each arena is just sold to the higher guns. And it's so true. Like we're living in a reality where like we have Little Caesars Arena. We have crypto.com. We have, it's just what is that? Climate Change Arena? Is that the name of the Kraken?
Yeah. Climate Pledge or whatever. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like cryptocurrency. That's nuts. Matt Damon would tell you that he supports that. Have you seen that commercial? He's so serious.
I have.
Looking me dead in the eyes. It's like, you need to buy crypto now.
Yeah.
All right, Matt Damon, I'll get on that. All right, so one more question. So Nathaniel PZM1 on Twitter wants to know, what is our favorite classic alternative jersey from any team? My favorite is the late 90s Buffalo Sabres jersey with the buffalo head on the front. So I think I don't think he's saying alternative jersey. I think because that might have just been their jersey at the time. I think it was when Dominik Hasek was there towards the end.
Yeah.
I don't think that was an alt jersey. I think it was just a jersey. So maybe his question is that it's different from what the team is currently rocking.
Sure.
I mentioned before that the Panthers have an awesome one from the 90s. Obviously, you really can't touch the Mighty Ducks. That's untouchable across the board. But I do want to bring up the spaghetti skate. I think the Vancouver Canucks, when they had Pavel Bure and the black and gold, I think looked awesome. I think that kind of goes underappreciated. And I think they might be the only team in the league that has changed color schemes that drastically.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, so many times. So that's what I go for. Is I think that the Canucks spaghetti skate is a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If he didn't say Sabres, I was gonna say Sabres before. Probably this year, I probably would have said Kachina, but it's back now, so I don't think I necessarily say it. So if I go off the grid, I don't know if you remember it. I think it was like, dude, I was like 11 or 12 at the time, but it was the Dallas Stars jersey where it had like the bull, but the bull was like outlined in like the constellation, and it was like a black jersey. It was like a green bull, had like a red star coming down like the horn or whatever.
Okay.
Like, I loved it personally. I know some people hated it, but for the time, I'm like, I thought it was pretty sick. I mean, the color scheme had no reason going together, but yeah, that's one I always kind of liked.
I want to throw a bone to the Columbus Blue Jackets too, because I'm a sucker for the circle jerseys.
Okay.
Like I like that. I think it's cool when the crest is a circle, and I do like their cannon one. That I think that's so much more appealing than what they've got going on now. Because to me, what they've got going on now is just kind of a poor man's Capitals. Like they looked at like what the Capitals and the Rangers, like what they did right. And they're like, yo, how can we do this but like look like an AHL team? And that's kind of like the vibe that I got from the Blue Jackets. But yeah, I think that one's really cool. I think that anytime that a team has like the simple, the drawstring and the circle and like maybe two colors, I just think it was clean. It's baller. So, so yeah, man, it's been nice chatting with you. We'll make sure that it's not as long this time before we do another episode.
No shit.
Yeah. We'll be, you got any plans here for the holidays? You're going to be bouncing back and forth?
Actually, so one of our friends turns 21 on Black Friday. So
are you coming out?
The plan is, yeah. So we'll see.
Oh shit.
I'm still logistically figuring everything out, but yeah, at least for a day or two, we'll see. I think that's my game plan, and then maybe some friends and family for actual Thanksgiving Day. We'll see.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, go back and check out those interviews, and make sure you drop a line and tell us what you think. Maybe ask some questions so that we're ready for next episode. It's fourthlinegoon.com. You can find us on all the social medias. I'm not even going to bother with it, but appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Later, guys.